don't understand how I make $34 an hour.
So I don't know if you've seen this video on your For You page, but it definitely came across mine this morning, and it is extremely touching at the same time as it is heartbreaking. So that said, I wanted to review some of the numbers and the figures that she provided in the video and just see if we can come up with some type of path that can get them on financial solid ground. Because as of right now, feeling completely helpless and falling to the bottom of the ocean is a terrible feeling, and that is not something I want for anyone. So let's do a little bit of the numbers here and see if I can figure out something for her. All right, so in the video, she mentions that she makes $34 an hour. If we were to take $34 an hour on a 40-hour work week, that's roughly $1,360 weekly. If we time that by 52 weeks for an entire year, that would be an annual salary of just $70,720 annual gross. All right, so she makes about $70,000 before taxes. So now let's take a look at what the Canadian government's going to take out of her check at $70,000 range. So again, this is a pretty rough estimate that I'm drawing from. I'm not a Canadian citizen, so all I can assume here at this $46,000 to $75,000 range that she falls into, she's right around 29%, 30% tax bracket for that income. So if she's at 29% income tax rate, that's about $20,000 off of that gross income. That's going to put her right around $50,000, $212 for the year. So if we go over here, we're going to take 50,000 and change and divide that by a 12-month calendar year. So her monthly cash that she has to live off of basically is $4,184. Okay, so now that we know that she makes about $4,100 after taxes, that's kind of where we need to work from. What are we spending that money on, and how do we get out of this bad situation? So let's do the math now and take a look at that. So we know from her video that her mortgage is $400 every 2 weeks, so we'll round that to $800 every month for her housing. We don't, however, know what her car or her transportation monthly budget is, and she also had mentioned that she had a couple of small bills. I don't know what those bills are or what the amount is, but we also know that she only spends $80 a month, which I have no idea how someone can live off of that for food per month. And if you remember from my earlier videos, the importance that I stress in budgeting. So for making $4,100 a month, 30% of that can go towards our housing, 10% of that can go towards our transportation or car needs, 50% can go towards our operations, and for a lot of us that includes entertainment, clothing, gas, food, and then lastly, the last 10%, that is ours to keep, that is for savings and investing, non-negotiable. Let's take a look at those figures now. All right, so she's making $4,100 a month, and she can account for 30% of that for her monthly budget for housing, which is $1,255 a month. So far, she's only spending $800 for her mortgage. That's a good situation. And she had mentioned in the video it might go up to $1,200. And even if it does, it's still in the 30 percentile range. This is a good situation thus far. I'm not worried about this. So if we go back to her making $4,100 a month, and we minus the mortgage at $800, that puts her right at $3,300 and change. And even if the mortgage went up to $1,200, that would still give her $2,984 a month to play with before paying for her car or transportation. All right, so looking at transportation now. If we account for 10% of our monthly budget for transportation or our car, it's going to put her roughly around, she didn't really say, but we'll just say $425. Again, if that's higher, it's not a good situation. So let's just say it's at 10%. If she's now at $3,384 after paying her mortgage and now paying the car bill at $425, it's going to leave her at $2,959. And again, same math applies here. If the mortgage is $1,200, that $2,984 minus her car payment would then put her at $2,559. All right, and now for the last one and the big one, our operations budget. That includes insurance, entertainment, food, gas. All of those things can account for 50% of this take home, which is $4,100. The problem that we don't know is she had mentioned she had a couple of small bills and she only spends $80 in food in this operations budget at 50%. And for the big expenditure, we're going to go over the operations budget, which should account for 50% of her take home, which is $4,100 and change. And if we account for that, that would be $2,092 for gas, insurance, cable, food, clothing, entertainment. All of this would fall under operations. So after paying for her housing and her car, she was left with $2,959. After paying for her operations allotment of $2,092, that should actually give her a surplus of $867. And as I said, 10% of this take home is always going to savings towards investing. And that should account for $418 of that. If she has a surplus of $867, she's actually in a really good situation. Again, the only problem that we don't know from the video is we don't really know what she's paying for her car note, and we do not know what these couple of small bills are that are falling in her operations budget. And if we know it's credit card debt, that can be a very sticky and tough situation to be in. This is something I'd want to know what's going on here, because this is obviously having a dramatic effect in this budgeting, which is causing a lot of pain and misery for this family. So if I was in this situation, I would focus on what are we spending in the operations? What are these small bills? If they're credit card or high interest rate debt, we have got to get into a situation of figuring out a plan to eliminate this debt, because it is crushing us, and that's what's putting us in this hopeless situation. So again, without knowing these variables, something is happening in that 50% operations budget, because as of right now, the housing is in a good position, and there's probably equity in that position. But again, we don't know what the car, the transportation budget, or the operations are. So if we knew what those are, we could certainly get her on a path to financial success. Well, I hope this video is helpful. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you on the next one.